Borshchev, coming off of a nasty liver shot KO in his last fight, somehow, someway gets propped up to the main card. The man's stock is rising through the roof. But I do kind of have to know, brother, I'm feeling a little bit of a way because even though he's a young, hot fighter coming off the Dana White Contender Series, he beat Dakota Bush in what was a kind of touch and go first round. It was going back and forth. You get the Bone Crusher next, man. I mean, they're not giving this dude an easy matchup. This is Marc Diakiese, who is 5-5 in the UFC, and even though, like, listen, he's lost to the Rafael Alves, the Rafael Fizieves, the Nasrat Haqparast. He does have a win over Joe Duffy and a win over Lando Venata, groovy Lando Venata, brother. So when you have that, you know he's game. You know he's ready to scrap. Why do you think Borshchev is getting the push so early? Is it because he's a fun fighter? Is it because he's a game fighter willing to fight anyone, anywhere, anyhow? Or is it just because they have their own agenda and they say, fuck it, let's get him on the main card? What do you think?
I think this is one of the ones where Borshchev answered the call. He picked up the phone when nobody else would. They had a late fight replacement. Slava Claus came in and said, fuck it, I'm fighting. Which, scratching the back of Uncle Dana. Now the real question for me is that 190, that minus 190 for Borshchev. Is that being tainted from his last performance? Because I agree with you. It was very much touch and go. Dakota Bush was winning that fight until he ate one hell of a shovel punch right to that liver. So, I mean, although at the same point, Borshchev has a good ground game attack. He's very technical on the ground. He's coming out of, I forget where he's training, if it's Alpha Male or if it's one of the big name teams. But Diakiese had his ground game exposed in both in the Fiziev fight as well as the Alves fight. A little more in the Fiziev fight. We think of Fiziev as a striker, but he was controlling that entire ground game against Diakiese. Where the Alves fight, he kind of got caught. He got caught in a guillotine. It happened, so can't really discredit him too much for that one. But Diakiese is very flashy on the feet, very powerful. The striking for between these two, very close. I just think Borshchev has a little bit better ground game than Diakiese. What do you think?
I mean, listen, when it comes down to it, Borshchev does train at Team Alpha Male, so that is a big camp right there. But, yeah, for Marc Diakiese, I just think that, he's had a lot of hype on him. They had a lot of push. They try to push this dude as being the next big thing, and you have some touch-and-go performances, a lot of decisions, right? I mean, lose a decision to Haqparast. You win a decision against Duffy, decision against Venata, lose a decision against Fiziev, and then, get submitted. But what does it mean, AJ, that he went to a decision with a Rafael Fiziev, who's one of the best strikers in the lightweight division? You got to give him some credit right there, right?
Well, the fact that Fiziev's easiest road to game plan was take him down and control him, which we don't see Fiziev do, speaks levels to how dangerous on the feet Marc Diakiese is, man. Like big, huge levels, because Fiziev is down to strike with anybody. Fiziev was down to strike with RDA. Doesn't matter who it is. He's down to stand up and bang. Yeah. Except for Diakiese, he said, fuck it, I'm shooting those hips.
Yeah. So I do agree with you, man. Diakiese is a dangerous striker, and we might see Borshchev say, I am a mixed martial artist. Let's show you some of my grappling. He doesn't have a submission win under his belt, but if I remember correctly, man, he has hunted for some ground game work, some submissions against a bunch of fighters. He just hasn't landed the submission. And if anything, he gets you to the ground and then he TKOs you on the ground with punches. Because if we look at his last 5 fights, knocks out Dakota Bush. So basically knockout round 1, knockout round 2, knockout round 2, knockout round 1, and then his last loss was to Will Stark, so it was a split decision loss. So I think for Slava Claus, man, he can get the job done here, but I do think this is going to be a very, very tough test. And I honestly think Diakiese should be the favorite. Same thing with you. I see the minus 190 and I say, okay, I mean, you're fighting a veteran, brother. You're fighting a real deal veteran. Dakota Bush was one of those, okay, ease into the UFC. But now, here we go. You took the step up in competition. Let's see if you can get the job done. If he doesn't, then you kind of ruin the hot track of a Borshchev. However, I mean, so listen, this is the other thing to take into consideration. Borshchev is older than Marc Diakiese, brother. So now, it's now or never for Borshchev. He has to get these wins in now. For Marc Diakiese, you're 5-5, 14-5 in your MMA career, and you're under 30 still. You still not even in your prime yet. Come on, man. So Bone Crusher, he needs a get-back win. I think he's a plus 155 underdog because he's lost his last 2 fights. He's lost 3 of his last 5 fights. But, listen, man, I don't know. We need a finish. So, let me just rattle off a couple of stats, brother. Bone Crusher has not finished a fight since 2017. So, I mean, that nickname is kind of not really too apt right now. Either way, he has been guillotined twice in his last 5 losses. So, look out for that for Viacheslav Borshchev. And for Borshchev, the big question mark for me is that he's only seen the 3rd round twice in his career. Marc Diakiese has squeaked out a bunch of decisions. Can he take him to the later rounds, get him tired, use his UFC veteran experience, and get him out of there? I don't know. Yet to be seen. AJ, who are you rolling with on this one for the last fight on the main card that we're picking for?
Last fight on the main card, man. I'm going Borshchev. I'm going Borshchev KO round 2. I think it's going to be a closer fight. In the first one, we're going to see some nice striking out of Diakiese, but then the second round is going to come. We're going to see Borshchev take a more calculated approach, get either the takedowns, and then start working for a TKO, KO, one of those. I think it's going to end early. What was the over-under?
2.5 rounds, brother.
Ooh, I'm going with the under. I'm going with the under. I'm going about it's a second round KO. Either way, it's going to be a very fun fight. But I think the striking right here is going to speak levels to how good these guys actually are. But then we're going to see Borshchev run away with the ground game at the end. That's what I'm rolling with. Slava Claus, KO round 2. Hopefully he does another cheesy song at the end or something. We'll see. But I'm going Slava KO round 2. What about you, Derek?
You know what? As much as I like Diakiese was literally one of my favorite fighters when I started like watching the UFC, like really, really heavy like that, man. I'm like, this dude's an OG. You gotta love it, man. He comes in here, bone crusher, got the red mohawk, looking like Yondu off of Avengers and all that, right? But I do think Borshchev is going to play a smart game plan, take him to the ground, and look for the ground and pound finish. I mean, if you're a better mixed martial artist or you have better tools, even though you're younger in your career, why not use them? You're a little bit older. You're in your frame. You're in that prime right there. It does have a reach disadvantage of 4 inches, so it's probably going to be a good thing getting the fight to the ground. But I also think he has some great kicks. He has the whole 9, man. It should be a fun fight. I like Borshchev. I'm taking the under 2. I like the ground and pound finish, round 2 or so. But I'm not going to lie to you, AJ. I would not be surprised to see Marc Diakiese pull the upset win here and then give everybody the I told you so. You shouldn't have picked the young new toy over the old grizzled vets.